I just wanted to ask, first of all, so you opened up a butchery after your first film, These Birds Walk. So I was just wondering what it was that made you leap back into film, and why it was this story in particular that you decided to tell.
Yeah, man. So the funny thing is, I made These Birds Walk, and we had a good run, but life was changing for me and my family, and being like, I come from a working class family from Queens, and I had to be real. I had a child on the way, and I had to really think about what is a way to make a living. And I always knew that my heart was in cinema, and in some way or another, I would make my way back one day. But at the moment, I was like, I just want to make sure that I'm doing something for my community that's sustainable. And in a way, film kind of comes and goes. But if you can open something that then stays in the community, that can be really exciting. So we opened a butchery in the East Village, me and two other close friends of mine. What's crazy is the first time I met Riz, I met him at the butchery. So
Oh, okay.
he had, but he had become friends with my co-director of These Birds Walk. And my co-director was like, yo, you got to meet this guy. I was like, man, look, I'm not with the whole actor thing. Like, I was a fan of Four Lions, but like, it's not something that like I'm really into, but it just ended up happening where like him and we just really hit it off. Like we got along really well. And I think like I won't lie that like Riz has had a huge impact in my life, where he's this guy that is making stuff and he's doing a really excellent job. And he's always cared to open up the fold, where it's never just about him, but it's about this larger community thing. And that's what's always been about for me. It's like whenever I do anything, it's like I love the communal experience of us all coming together to build something. Yeah. So that's the way I always saw film. So even like the film that I was doing right before this, Ghost of Sugarland, it was my friends in Texas that I grew up with. So I kind of always had this communal idea with filmmaking, and that's how I kind of want to do all my work. So that's how it kind of happened even with Riz. Like there were no agents, nobody involved. It was just him and I for months, just, working on this and workshopping this and seeing if anyone would want to watch this,
Yeah. And a big part of this film is obviously the sort of bicultural experience. And I think you guys do a great job of depicting that. And
what does bicultural mean?
So sort of like growing up in the West, obviously as a Muslim, and sort of following that religion, sort of dealing with the two different cultures. And as a British Pakistani myself, I saw so much of my own life in this story. But I was wondering if you were ever concerned about alienating people that perhaps couldn't relate as much, and how you sort of went about getting that balance just right.
Man, that was like the biggest, I have that concern only now, but like when I was making it, I didn't care.
Yeah,
because, but now like I have that concern as I look back at it, because I wonder if, and I think it's the right time to have the concern afterwards, because I think when you're making it, like, it's really interesting, because I think so much of who we are, we censor ourselves a lot, or how we present ourselves and how we filter ourselves. And, we don't really bring our full self, because we're so afraid how people will view us. They may think we're aggressive. I mean, I come from the United States, man. Like I was 14 when 9/11 happened. So for me, so much of my identity was, if I am angry in public, that would mean that, all like 1 billion Muslims are angry in the world, right? So I always had this burden of representation on me. And I think it was only when I think it was a post-college thing, and I started to kind of understand more of like, wait, no, I can't put that burden on myself, and I just have to allow myself to make mistakes. But I started to free myself up and just saw my own humanity. So I think it wasn't, the burden that I felt was more about this feeling of, we have this chance to make something, and I'm really afraid of ruining it for others. You know what I mean? Because it just can't be about me. It's got to be about all of us working and continuing to build more exciting things,
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier, obviously, you and Riz sort of hit it off quite early on. I was just wondering, I know obviously he's primarily based in the UK and you're based in the US. What are some of the difficulties of the writing process when that's the case?
What's crazy is Riz and I, like it was just, we're both traveling while we were working on this film. I was like working on other things, and he's working on his films. He's working on the set of Venom, and like we're talking, like it was just, we were all over the place while we were working on this. What I will say is that the writing process was very fluid. It was always about me writing and Riz always adding in, but there was never the idea of like, I actually pushed Riz to take a co-writing credit on the film because he didn't want to take a credit on the
Oh,
film.
okay.
And the reason for that is because I'm not a Londoner, man, and I needed him to really give this like this flair of London that only he can give. And actually he even took the credit, I would say, only a week before the press release. You know what I mean? Or the day before the press release came out, he finally took the credit. And that, but that also shows like who he is as a person. Like he's very giving, and he doesn't want to do that. But I also felt like it was very important to that because he is such a phenomenal writer that I was like, I need you to, you know, it would be an honor to share that credit with you.
Yeah, of course. And music is a big part of this movie, and it plays an important role in providing insights into Zed's self-identity, his view of culture, and it even highlights his own hypocrisy. And I was just wondering what the process of creating that music was like.
Man, it was really intense and exciting because we had to kind of be building as we were changing the scripts. The lyrics had to change, so there was a lot, and the fact that Riz was able to really work that quickly and adapt was really exciting. And I think musically we had a great composer by the name of Paul Corley, and then we had another person by the name of Paul Davies, who is our sound designer. And then I think it's also worth shouting out our music supervisor, Abdullah, who was actually at the start, at the inception of this idea. It was me, Riz, and Abdullah, his music supervisor. And we basically built what this would sound like. So much of our earlier conversations were literally just YouTube playlists. Before there was even a script, there were YouTube playlists of what we were listening to and what excited us.
And finally, I just wanted to ask, so Zed is haunted throughout the film by a groom in a Sarah. And I was wondering if you could expand a little bit upon that recurring image and where that idea came from and its significance to Zed's journey.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things, right? I think one, it's like a specter of you know, the veil over the face is this idea that we have all these walls between us and our culture. Like we don't really know how to necessarily interact with it. And there's this other element of this kind of, you know, we have this like Sufi Mela concept, like this Mela Sufi, this guy that kind of is a bit weird and out there, that, you know, and so much of Qawwali music also comes from the fakir type culture, these people that are considered like beggars or a bit weird and oddballs. So I think we wanted to sort of celebrate that part of our culture, because I think so much of who we are in the West is a bit more buttoned up. So I think when we see these kind of people, it kind of really just, like, we have this visceral reaction towards them. So I think I wanted to kind of understand that for myself, like what that meant to me. And also I think the funny thing is, in the film, when Riz looks over and so the first time he sees him, like he does the taslim one way, right, when in prayer, and then he's the taslim the other way, and then that's the first time he sees him. And the funny thing is, that's actually the first time that Riz actually sees him in like real life too, like when we were filming. So Riz had never really seen what this guy would look like until that moment. So it was all quite exciting to see his reaction, you know.
No, I just wanted to say, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. I absolutely love the film. Congratulations on it again, and I'm excited for other people to see it.
Yeah, no, and it's good to be interviewed by another Pakistani guy, man. So that's really cool.
Definitely.